Fellas, UFC 299 just happened. That was insane. That card was one of the best cards we've had in recent history. The prelims, the main card, even on the prelims with Robert Despain getting another extremely quick finish. Michel Pereira getting another fast finish when he went to the body and then finished off with a rear naked choke on Mikal. The entire prelims, Gamrot on the prelims, the entire card was so stacked. So I'm going to be going through every single fight. Well, not every single fight. I'll be picking the ones that I predicted. And by the way, let me just say, my predictions for this fight were insane. Starting off with the first fight that I predicted, which was my chosen prelim, in Curtis Blades versus Gelton Almeida. Now, I predicted Gelton Almeida to win by decision. And by the way, this is the only one I got incorrect. This is the only time I picked an incorrect fighter. But Curtis Blades was able to get a TKO. My gosh, am I happy this happened. That first round was so boring. It was genuinely so boring. That first round between the two, it was literally just Gelton Almeida holding Curtis Blades against the cage for an entire round. No one wanted to see it. He'd let Curtis Blades back up. Immediately after, he'd just drag him back down and no one wanted to see it. And in the second round, he shoots for a takedown and Curtis Blades, being the absolute chad that he is, goes for the hammer fists and is able to finish Gelton Almeida. And I'm so glad that we don't have to see Gelton Almeida go near any belts because, listen, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but my gosh, is he one of the most boring fighters in the heavyweight division right now. I'm so glad for Curtis Blades. He called out Tom Aspinall, and you know what? Let's book the fight. Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades, number 2. The first one we didn't really get to see. Let's see it again. I think it's the perfect time to do it now that Curtis Blades is coming off a finish over Gelton Almeida. Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades, but let me just say I'm so happy that it resulted in this way. Nothing against Gelton Almeida, but the first round was boring. Boring fighters don't deserve to win. Let's go Curtis Blades for finishing Gelton Almeida in the way that he did. I didn't expect it to happen. I thought Almeida would do what he did in the first round for 3 rounds, but fair play to Blades. Let's see him versus Aspinall. Yeah, that's the prelim. That's the chosen prelim fight. Now we're on the main card. Petr Yan versus Song Yadong. I predicted Petr Yan to win by decision. That's exactly what he did. This was a really good technical fight. This was really enjoyable to watch, Petr Yan versus Song Yadong. Yeah, it was really interesting. The first round, Song Yadong was doing well. I feel like he was landing the more effective shots, and towards the end of the first round, that's where we definitely got to see a lot of offensive grappling from Song Yadong, and I'd scored him. I thought he won the first round personally, but Petr Yan is so tough, and he's got such good boxing. Those hooks, he has got some of the most dangerous hooks. The uppercuts as well that he was landing on Song Yadong, and the reversals in the grappling. The fact that he was able to actually grapple Song Yadong himself and pick up a lot of points, which he ended up winning on points as well. Really good win for Petr Yan, and I'm so glad that he's back in the win column. This ain't no Tony Ferguson. This ain't no, losing streak Petr Yan. I knew it would happen. I told you. When he gets a guy like Song Yadong who doesn't have these massive grappling advantages over him, and he's not some tall, long, rangy striker like Sean O'Malley, I knew Petr Yan was going to win. That's exactly what he did. Petr Yan won this one by decision. Yeah, I'm going to match make them both in a video upcoming soon, but that was a really good win for Yan, and I'm so glad that he can finally fight around the top 5 area, and we know for a fact that he's not washed. And for Song Yadong, I think it's just a case of durability. He looked really good in the first round, but he looked so tired after that first round against Petr Yan, so maybe we need to see him against, maybe we need to see him in more 5-rounders or whatever. I don't know, maybe it's a stamina issue, but good fight, really technical fight, and a good win for Petr Yan. Next fight, Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. Am I the only one who thought this was such a late stoppage? JDM dropped him, and it was going for ground and pound for about 15 seconds before the ref decided to go in. Maybe it was just me watching at the time, and I don't know, maybe I was looking at the wrong thing, but I thought that was a bit of a late stoppage. But the fight itself, it was actually quite close. I was really struggling who to give it to, because for the majority of the fight, it was Gilbert Burns trying to grapple JDM, look for the submission, and then on the feet, it was JDM. Well, JDM was superior on the feet, landing the better combinations on Gilbert Burns. He just overall looked well against Gilbert Burns. I predicted JDM to win this one by decision. He managed to get a finish in the later rounds, which I'm not going to say he was lucky for doing, because I did personally on my own, my own scorecards, I had him winning. I thought he was going to win by decision if he was able to get up at the end, which he did. The reversal in which he got Gilbert Burns was so unlucky for Burns, because he got the reversal immediately after, knees him in the face, drops him, goes like 15 seconds of ground and pound. I was getting flashbacks of Jalin Turner versus Bobby Green, and yeah, he was able to go out there, finish Gilbert Burns. And that's a solid win for JDM. I think he's only one fight away from a title shot now. Gilbert Burns, I've got a certain matchup that I think he'd do well against. Now, I'll do it in a matchmaking video that I'll be uploading tomorrow. But good win for JDM. He's shown that he's got great grappling defense. And that judo throw, not the judo throw, but that trip he got on Gilbert Burns really impressed me as well. He's a great striker, the best boxer in the welterweight division. Great combinations. He's obviously shown that he's got good submission defense. And I think he's a real big problem for the rest of the contenders in the welterweight division. So good win for JDM. It was a decent fight. It wasn't the fight of the night that I was expecting, but good. It was a decent fight. Good win for JDM. And yeah, maybe Gilbert Burns can come back strong, because he didn't look terrible in that first round, to be honest. He looked much better than he did in the Bilal Muhammad fight. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, good win for JDM, and I think he's only one fight away from a title shot at this point. I know there's lots of contenders, but I think he's only one fight away. Then we had MVP versus Kevin Holland. I told you, there were so many people thinking I was delusional for picking Kevin Holland. Oh, MVP's old. Oh, he's only fought Kanzi in Bellator. I had a feeling that MVP was going to outstrike him. Now, one thing I will say is I didn't expect Kevin Holland to initiate a lot of the grappling. I thought he was going to treat it like the Wonderboy fight, but it seemed like Kevin Holland really wanted to win this fight. He tried taking Michael Venom Page down a lot. MVP impressed me with his takedown defense. I thought the second Holland would get a hold of him, I thought MVP would immediately be on the ground. I thought he'd be ruined. I mean, there was a time, I think it was in the second round, where he tripped and then Kevin Holland took him down and he was damaging with ground and pound, nearly got a rear naked choke on him. But no, MVP impressed me. To do that to a guy like Kevin Holland, he was landing on him. There were a few showboats in there as well. Do I think he's going to become a champion or a contender of the welterweight division? No, I just don't. I feel like the overall fight was quite low output. There were a few times where, you know, it was quite clippable when MVP was catching him, but for a majority of the fight, it was quite low output. It was just, you know, MVP doing his karate stance and Holland waiting for any sort of engagement in the fight. But overall, good win for MVP, and I think we need to do MVP versus Wonderboy. That's the fight everyone's been talking about. They've both beaten Kevin Holland. They've both beaten him pretty convincingly. So MVP versus Wonderboy, I don't mind it. And for Kevin Holland, I mean, it wasn't the... I did expect a little bit better from Kevin Holland. Even though I did pick MVP to win by decision, which he did, I did expect something else from Kevin Holland. I thought maybe he'd be able to tag him or at least use better grappling offense. Maybe it was just Kevin Holland was an overrated grappler. Maybe MVP had better grappling than we thought. Decent fight. Wish there was more output, but I told you all that MVP was going to win. You need to stop putting your parlay on me. I've got you covered. MVP won by decision. Another win for the UK. Now we need to see MVP versus Wonderboy. And yeah, that was a pretty decent fight as well. Decent striking matchup. And yeah, it was quite fun at times as well. Then we had the co-main event. Benoit Saint Denis versus Dustin Poirier. I told you guys. I told you a lot that Dustin Poirier was too experienced for Benoit Saint Denis. Oh, Benoit Saint Denis. He's going to take over Dustin Poirier. This dude, he's coming in hard to win over Matt Frivola. He's going to come in and destroy Dustin. Listen, it's all bullshit at the end of the day. Dustin Poirier is a legend. He's been around for so long. He's fought so many killers. I will admit, in the first round, Benoit Saint Denis was looking sharp. He was winning the grappling exchanges. He was winning the striking exchange as well, even though he was leaving himself open, which obviously led to him getting knocked out. He looked sharp in that first round against Poirier, but Poirier was able to get the finish. He was able to land the better shots in the second round. But overall, it was a fun scrap. I knew it wasn't going to go 5 rounds. Ended in, the second round as well. I predicted Poirier to finish him in the third. He finished him in the second, but good win for Poirier. Benoit Saint Denis, I don't think he's a bad fighter. I think he's got good potential. I just think they rushed him too soon. I think to go from Matt Frivola to Dustin Poirier was never a smart idea, even though he did look good in the first round. His defense wasn't great. He got tagged by Poirier. He got knocked out. Solid knockout for Dustin Poirier. In terms of Benoit Saint Denis, listen, he's still got good grappling. And one thing I want to say is how many guillotines does Dustin Poirier want to spam? The amount of guillotines he was spamming, I think he got up to like 5 guillotines, which every single time BSD would go for a takedown, Dustin Poirier would just spam the guillotine button like he was playing a video game. But no, Benoit Saint Denis, it's not over. I still think that he's got a lot of potential. He's only like 27 years old as well. And for Dustin Poirier, I respect him for fighting Benoit Saint Denis, an up-and-coming contender, because I'd expect him to fight, you know, only fights that are going to get him a title shot. But for the fact that he was able to fight a guy like BSD, I told you it would go similar to Gaethje versus Fiziev, and that's exactly what happened. Good win for Poirier there. Knocked him out a round before I thought he would. And then we had the main event. I told you all as well. Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. Sean O'Malley's going to batter Marlon Vera. That's exactly what happened now. I thought O'Malley was going to knock him out in the 5th round. And I don't know how Marlon Vera survived a lot from there. That knee, I think it was in the 3rd round. That knee that Sean O'Malley did to Vera. I don't understand how he survived it, but he battered Marlon Vera. Marlon Vera looked like, you know that guy in Home Alone that had a brick dropped on his face? That's what Marlon Vera looked like in that fight. Sean O'Malley battered him. I knew this would happen. I knew there were levels between them. And I knew if there was anyone in the bantamweight division to beat O'Malley, it wouldn't be Marlon Vera. But one thing I will say is that guy's tough. He's got a granite chin. The amount of shots he took from O'Malley and just kept coming forward. I predicted it right as well. If you go and watch my prediction video, I said that Marlon Vera is going to get better around the 4th and the 5th round, which he did. But it just wasn't enough for O'Malley. Solid win for Sean O'Malley there. And I can't wait to see him versus Marab. Even though I do think Marab's going to, probably maul him, I'm not going to completely count Sean O'Malley out. We can't. Look at his title performances. Knocking out Aljo and destroying, absolutely battering Marlon Vera. You've got to respect Sean O'Malley, even though he might be quite an annoying person and he might not be the most likable person to watch. You've got to be honest, he's the most exciting champion in the UFC, or at least one of them, and he just battered Marlon Vera. But overall, that was a solid card. I loved it. I think from start to finish, the prelims, the main event, the main card, everything about this card, it was stacked, it delivered, and overall, it was an insane card. So let me know your thoughts on UFC 299 down below. I thought it was stacked, but yeah, let me know your thoughts on the card. Thank you for watching.